Hello, everyone, and welcome to Items of the Week. I'm Lori Williamson, the Acquisitions and Outreach Coordinator at the Minnesota Historical Society for the Collections Department. And with me, as always, is my wonderful colleague and friend, Sandra Ryerson.
I am a 3D objects curator. Thank you, Lori.
Yeah, you're welcome. All right, well, let's get started. And today we're talking about indoor activities. Since we're all still stuck at home for a little bit longer, we just wanted to share some fun things in our collection with you that you can do indoors or that were done indoors in the past. I totally was self-serving with picking my very own hockey coloring book because my dear brother, who's younger than me, is on like 3 different hockey teams, just like pickup hockey teams, and he really loves it. But he's going a little crazy now that he can't play. So I wanted to point this out that he could have his very own hockey coloring book to entertain him in this time of woe. It's you can see the top. It's my very own hockey coloring book, and it's cheap at half the price. I think this was given out free at a North Stars game, and it was published by a local bank as kind of a promotional item.
Yeah, this is 1969. So the Minnesota North Stars, of course, predate the Minnesota Wild. So there were a few years where we didn't have a professional hockey team because the North Stars became the Stars in Texas, right?
Yeah, in Texas. Yeah. Not right. Still, I'm not over it. No. And then the other coloring book there is the Curl Top coloring book. And what can you tell us about this, Sandra?
This one was manufactured by Dairy Queen National Development Company in 1963. So Dairy Queen actually didn't start in Minnesota, but their headquarters moved to Minnesota. So that's why we claim it as a Minnesota company.
Oh, that is interesting. And don't we have a really cool early ice cream machine from them in the collection too?
Yes, we do. You can find it in collections online.
Okay, and if anybody requests it, maybe it will show up in a future episode. Okay, so now we have puzzle as an indoor activity, 2 different ones. The one on the left is the Mystic Oracle. I'm not really sure how it makes it a puzzle. I mean, clearly there's a spinning top thing with different answers. It answers questions by wireless, which also I thought was fun because wireless has such a different meaning for us today. But I love the piece. And Sandra, can you tell me a little bit about where it comes from?
Yeah, so it's from the Big Diamond Mills Company of Minneapolis. It's a flour company, and it was the little booklet was actually produced in Chicago, but the Big Diamond Company was in Minneapolis, and this is part of our flour milling collection, which is huge because of one really great collector, Dick Farrell.
Very cool, very cool. And this was used as a promotional piece for the flour company. They would give it out to like get their name out, increase their business, right? And then
Yeah, exactly.
What about the weirdo jigsaw type puzzle next to it?
Yeah, the Automobile and Spilled Eggs 346 piece puzzle. So it's all wooden jigsaw pieces made in Massachusetts.
But who did it belong to? Why do we have it if it was made in Massachusetts?
Well, this came from the James J. Hill House collection. So the Hill family would have played with this puzzle.
That's a weird sort of messaging thing. You know what I mean? It seems weird that it came from like, a Robert Barron type guy's house. And the image on it is a bunch of people in a car running to a lady and spilling her eggs. I don't know. There's something kind of, it seems some sort of subliminal messaging or maybe overt messaging. I don't know. But it's a fascinating piece. I remember when this piece first came to us, I remember seeing an intern or somebody sitting down in 3D Collections office area having to number every single piece of the puzzle.
Yeah, we do that with decks of cards too if they've been opened. So if it's a sealed package, the thing gets 1 number, but if it's been opened, every single part gets numbered. You got to keep track.
You are dedicated. I love it. I love it.
3M did a whole series of board games. They've since separated that division from the company, but they're always innovating. And Acquire was one of the best known games in their Bookshelf series. So this one is dated 1968, but the Bookshelf series came out from 62 to 74. And the object of this game is to acquire the greatest wealth. It kind of reminds me of Monopoly. Board there. You have hotel tiles and plastic chain markers, stock certificates, the whole thing, and it's pretty great.
I love the idea of the Bookshelf series though for board games. You can just grab them off the bookshelf and stuff. I also love the image of this guy on the front of Acquire. Oh my gosh, just look at that captain of industry holding his glasses.
Oh, yeah. Like, that just says Mad Men all over it.
So does. Oh my gosh, it's so great. I also love the idea that 3M for a while would just like throw things at like the wall and see what would stick. It's like we
Yeah.
can make this. Let's do and see how it works. Well, that's
Yeah,
great.
and this was really popular. There's, if you want to learn more about this and the other bookshelf games, there's a little piece in Minnesota history.
Oh. Which and past issues of that are available online for something else for you to do as an indoor activity. Take a look at those.
Exactly.
Yeah. And so, okay, so the people and the photo on the right are not socially distancing, but that's because this photo came from 1937, and it's of one guy playing multiple games of chess. And I just love that image, thinking about, all these people on one side and the lone, he's kind of like the acquire guy.
Yeah,
He's
the chess master.
Exactly.
So I added a board game because this is one of my very favorites. This is the New Frontier anti-JFK board game from 1962. So it's called The Game Nobody Can Win. And so it's anti-John F. Kennedy, and it's an anti-socialist twist on Monopoly. And so the front of it reads, "The funniest political game of the century." And then you've got the rocking chair, and that's labeled JFK. So there's a reference to Hubert Humphrey, which explains why it shows up in our collection, because of course Humphrey was from Minnesota. But it's the whole cast of characters from JFK to Lyndon Johnson to Ed Murrow, you name it. It's a pretty great game.
That's amazing. Now, do you think, honestly, Sandra, do you think it was meant to be played, or was it just a political statement?
Definitely a political statement. Probably playable. Not sure. Haven't tried.
Oh, dolls, yay, indoor activity. Well, okay, the person on the left is outside, but they are adorable with their little doll. So
yeah, and if you can see his arm, you can see he's in kind of military style clothing. The photo dates to 1915, so even kids were wearing uniform type clothes during that time period. And it's a little boy holding a doll. And yeah, we went with the not creepy dolls in our collection, but there are plenty of those if you want to go look around on collections online.
And what about the doll on the other side, the actual mermaid doll?
Yeah, so this is a cloth mermaid doll by Phyllis Chatham of Minneapolis. Phyllis would come into the History Center for our family days and have her dolls there, and so that's how we purchased this doll in 2012. And this is one of her, she called it her chit chat dolls. It's a celebration of life, capturing cultural reflections. So I think it's just a really great piece that kind of illustrates the creation of beautiful dolls within the African American community. And this one is supposed to represent the sisterhood of all women.
Oh, and then of course my favorite indoor activity of all time is reading books, which you can do outdoors too. But no, I picked these because they just have such evocative covers. They're both from the 20s, which maybe wasn't my best choice. But Millions of Cats is Wanda Gog. I think we probably all know that. And if you don't, find a copy and take a look. And by the end of it, you'll be like, wow, I can't believe this is a popular children's book. But anyway, the images are just lovely. Wanda Gog was really amazing. This came out in 1928. And we have these both in the library collection. All the Sad Young Men. I love the cover illustration on this. Is just so iconic and beautiful, and has very little to do with the book, but that's okay. It's just a lovely piece, and this is also from the early 20s.
It's so very Art Deco. Love that.
I know, so Art Deco. Yeah, it's beautiful. So. We just want to remind you all that we have a lot of online resources available at mnhs.org, and take a look and see what you can find. And if you do have a request of something you'd like us to talk about, let us know. We'll see what we can do. Thank you, Sandra. It's good to talk to you as always.
Yeah, see you next week.
See ya. Bye. Take care, everyone.